What's up, guys? This is the Therapist here, playing Way of the Samurai 4. Today I'm going to show people with a little kind of walkthrough on how to get Dojima as your blacksmith. Now, a lot of you guys will know Dojima, somewhat of a hard fight. I'm going to be doing this in easy, just because then I don't have to grind as much to get Dojima, etc. So, Dojima, there are a few things you'll need to know. First, you want to try your best to get a good style with a toughened type of stance so that you can have extra DR against Dojima. If possible, you might want to do it on a lower difficulty, prepared for the combat with him by getting a good weapon. Now, I've got a couple ways I'll show you how to do that, but first I might need to show some of you how to get weapons and etc. on the fly, just in case. So when you're in combat, I would recommend you hold the right bumper and then just press the X button. It's X button on my controller. Do your kick. That'll pick up any items or swords that happen to fall because of battle. Do your first day event. Second off, you're going to want to press start. Go over to map info. Go over, because for my example, we're going to go to Little Britain. So once we get here, we go into the main building. As you come up, she's basically just going to ask if you want to go in, because in this game they're actually really thoughtful about whether or not you want to do something at that exact time. You could go to an area and a lot of times they'll be like, oh, are you ready for this? And you say no, you can go do other stuff. So now that we've talked to her, that'll set up one of our events for the day. So now, if you wanted to continue, you'd have to go where she said, but that's not important. What I'm telling you about is how to get Dojima as your blacksmith. So now you're going to go to the magistrate, because since you've done your first activity of the day, the magistrate's open, which gives you access to a good mission. You talk to him. He can set you up with a mission to take on a bunch of enemies, which is will be a little hard early game if you haven't gotten any of your equipment upgraded, or if you haven't set yourself up for it. But I'd say this is your fastest way to get cash and get ready to take down Dojima. So when you get to the town after you've accepted the mission, nobody's going to be around except for the shopkeepers, which is fine. You're going to want to go talk to the smithy. He says he has to leave. If you want to continue or start the quest with him so you can get a replacement smith, you'd have to ask, why is it closing down? Then ask to find a successor, and he'll tell you more about Dojima. Say you'd be happy to. See? It tells you about Dojima. You get the quest to take on the Yakuza. You want to make sure your weapon is fully repaired, especially in the early game. Repaired and preferably upgraded a bit. I put it on easy mode, just to make it a little easier to get started. Wouldn't take as long. You want to make sure it's a fair amount strong. Okay. And I'm going to polish it just so it's all repaired. Second off, you're going to want food. Now, I believe I have just enough money for a couple food items. You're going to want something that gives you vitality. And we're going to go eat at the shop that's right next to the Yakuza. Their food has the same effect as the eggs, that it improves vitality retention, except for it lasts for 5 minutes, so it's going to last you a good portion into that fight. If you're playing on normal difficulty, this fight might be a little harder for you. Also, all weapons, how good they are, depend on the difficulty. So you'll get better drops in different difficulties, and they'll give more money. But specifically, you're going to want to go over to styles, moves. Press Y on your sword style, and you see how I don't have much of this unlocked. It's preferred that you get, I believe it's up here. This will give you speed eating, which will make it so you can use food items faster. Which, to acquire it, you gotta be second style or higher to eat something during battle. This is your basic sword art. And this one will give it so you have like a percent-based damage reduction to all attacks that hit you. It's going to be extremely useful against Dojima. Now, this is the basic style, so it's not exactly good at all. You might find something that works better for you. I'm just using this as an example. All of these have better versions. I believe the basic one gets a 25% damage reduction. There's an expert form which gives a 70 or 75%, which is extremely good. On top of that, if you mix in with a good weapon and you prepare sufficiently, then you should be able to take out Dojima without much of a problem. I'm just going to use this Umbiyoshi. Actually, I don't need to because of what we just did. Instead, let's use this blade oil that I prepared, because this is a lower difficulty. I still don't have a great weapon. You talk to him, say too late the assassin is rhymed, and then preferably you want to be somewhere where no thief takers or constables are going to hunt you down, because if you aggro them after a fight by not putting your sword away fast enough, then they will come and try to arrest you. Now, they'll fight you one at a time like every enemy in the game that doesn't have a gun. You might want to get a better style before you attempt to do this to grind money. If you're not on easy mode, you get the least money and the worst weapons to sell off of it in easy mode. So it's preferred anyways. If you find doing this mission is too hard, I'd say your best shot is to acquire money any other way you can, because you're going to need to upgrade your weapon. You might need to restart the game, because how many of you might know this, but if you go to the boatman, you can restart your game at any time, keeping your equipment that you have on you, but not really your money. So doing that, you can upgrade a weapon quite a bit. Then you can come back to the city on another playthrough and just get your equipment set up, be ready with high-level equipment, and then you can start again, ready to take on Dojima, the blacksmith, the man, the legend, the throttler. Now, as you can see, I have $4,133 right now. Or not dollars, but yen. And this is before I cash in. Now look, I have $8,744. And if you invest most of that into upgrading your weapon, it only gets easier. And the prices go higher each time. And the good thing about that mission is the more you do it, the more it decreases the crime rate. So, the crime rate, the higher it is, the more you have to pay on goods. The lower it is, the less you have to pay on goods. Now, I don't think that affects the smithy, though. If you put all of your upgrades into its damage, I'd get a blade oil and a whetstone starter right there. And after that, I'd get some food items. So we'll come over here. See, all the costs have went down a lot. Before an Umbeyoshi cost the same amount as a large one. You're going to want items that mostly just give you a lot of vitality. We've got 8 items, and just to be sure, you want to probably go in with all 10. Keep in mind you can do the mission I did earlier multiple times in order to get more money, though the better the crime rate, the less you'll be getting, the less enemies there will be. Next, we go fight Dojima. So, you'll find him at the cemetery. He'll be lamenting about, well, his mistakes in his life. But here you'll find Dojima. If you keep talking to him, you'll continue the chat along, and eventually you'll be able to deal with him. Then we go back to the blacksmith, and you talk to him again, you can continue the quest. You do this several times, then you end up talking to Dojima and fighting him. It's time. To defeat him with the back of your sword, you first draw your blade. I accidentally pressed unarmed. So you'd press A to reverse. It does more damage if you've upgraded, even though it is the back of the blade. You're going to want to take down his vitality bar. His vitality won't come back, and for those of you who aren't aware, beating somebody at the back of the blade when they back up a lot and are able to regenerate will take their vitality down faster than just cutting them to pieces. Everyone's a regenerator in this game, so you have to keep that in mind and beat the crap out of them until they just don't want to fight anymore. Keep an eye out for some of his attacks. He does have a throw in which he impales you with his sword and swings you around with it. It will do a lot of damage. And as you see, Spring Harvest is in effect. Spring Harvest can't be used to good effect while using the back of your blade. At least it cannot rise. As long as you're wary and you watch out for his big attacks and you've prepared sufficiently, you should be able to beat him. A technique I like to use is I like to open up with a jump kick and then go into a combo. There are a good number of attacks enemies can use, like his low sweep, that they won't be able to hit you while you're in the air. I'd also recommend against using big heavy moves because they leave you very wide open, and most of them don't really... At this point, they're not going to be as useful for you in the long run of beating him. When you're done, sheath your weapon and talk to him. you'll beat him into his senses. Once you come back, you'll see Dojima in the back of the smithy. He'll be able to repair your weapon and do any sort of upgrade from that point on. If you talk to the smithy, soon he'll move out thereafter. And then Dojima will stand in the front of the shop. If you follow these steps, I'm sure you'll be able to get Dojima defeated correctly with the reverse blade and get him back into your area. I recommend doing it on easy mode just to save time, because you can always go on to a harder difficulty on another playthrough, because with this game you can start a new playthrough with your same character style, experience, and everything at any time. And it's really good to do that to help achieve other means like getting a weapon upgraded. But that is all for today. Thank you for watching this. If you liked it, or if you like my content, please leave a like, subscribe. It gives me more motivation to make more content in the future. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you have a great time playing Way of the Samurai 4.